Thanks for tuning in and welcome back to the shop. This is our 2013 Mitsubishi Fuso FG. We're converting it into an overland camper. In our last episode, Krista did such a good job of putting together the kitchen cabinets. It's now my turn to bolt them together and put the legs on. Our kitchen is made up of 5 cabinets from IKEA. There's 3 across the bottom, and I'm going to bolt them together to form one large cabinet. There's 2 that go up top, and they'll be bolted together to form one long cabinet. The 5th is a single on the end, and that will be placed on top of the end once these are all bolted together. Not exactly sure what IKEA intended these blind holes to be used for, but the top of each cabinet has 3 blind holes that line up perfectly with the 3 blind holes in the next cabinet, and they happen to be exactly the right diameter for the recessed nuts that I've bought. So these will get threaded into here after I drill the hole all the way through, and then from the other side of the cabinet, these will get threaded in. So these thread into each other, and those will join the 2 halves of the cabinet together. Now the middle cabinet is going to need the holes going through on both sides because I'm joining this one to this one and I'm joining this one to this one. But the outer 2 cabinets only need those holes on the inside edge. So with 6 fasteners, I'm going to join the top of all these 3 together. The bottom half will get joined by the brackets that actually hold the feet on. Unfortunately, it looks like my drill and drill bit are too long to get into this cabinet to drill through. So what I'll have to do is bring these 2 cabinets together, clamp them in place, and then drill through from the other cabinet. And I may as well leave those clamps on while I put the fasteners in because I know everything is lined up right now. Having clamps like this to hold things in place is super handy. And if you're looking for a set of clamps like this, check the video description. I'll put a link in there if you want to get a set of your own. Here's a bit more of a close-up of the fasteners that I'm using. So you can see that this has an external thread to grab onto the wood, and it has an internal thread to grab onto the bolt. So we thread these nuts in from one side, and we thread the bolts in from the other side. Basically, this piece goes in from one side, and these have on the outside a reverse thread. So I'm going to put this on my driver, got my impact here, put it into the back side of the hole, and gently so I don't impact it all the way through. There we go, that's in, nice and flush. And then the bolt will come through from the other side. Thread in, and we can drive that in. And now those cabinets are held tight right at the top where they need to be tight. Take the clamps off. The tops of those cabinets are as secure as they need to be. Same thing for the next cabinet. Slide it up into place. Again, I have no idea what IKEA intended these holes to be used for. They're nothing that I need, and they're nothing that seems to show up in the instructions. So they're fair game as far as I'm concerned. Nice and tight and flush. Nice and tight and flush. These type of inserts are super easy to put in. The nice thing is, with that type of inserted nut and this type of bolt with a super thin head, you don't have stuff protruding into the inside of the cabinet being in the way. Probably could have got slightly longer bolts here, but unfortunately the next size that was in the store was too long. Probably should have started those by hand so I didn't cross-thread them, but there we go. Tops of the cabinets are together. And I'm sure some of you are thinking, IKEA's got to have a way of putting those cabinets together, and you're right, they do. If you read the Sectone manual on page 14, they show you how to attach these cabinets together using wood screws. That's fine and dandy if you're in a kitchen that doesn't move, but I'm not going to trust a couple of wood screws to hold these cabinets together in a moving vehicle. And I think if I did, I might end up somewhat like the way they show the cabinet improperly being attached to the wall. Now with the next step being on the bottom, I've got to tip these cabinets over onto their front. So I put some cardboard down on the floor, and we're going to do one big tip on all three cabinets at the same time. The kit for the IKEA cabinet feet consists of a set of 4 feet, 4 mounting base plates, a bag of hardware, and a set of instructions. We're going to bolt these to the bottom of the cabinets, screw these on, and stand this set back up again. Now the way these base plates are designed is that they can either go onto a single cabinet like this, and they've actually got a little bit of a kick in the plate to come up over the height difference between the base and the wall. Or you can overlap them like this, and they say to use a set of the washers that come in the bag to slide behind to make up for that little difference. On the ends, so the end of the cabinet there and the far end down here, we'll be using the method where we come in like this. But in the middle on these ones, we're going to be doing the overlap. Now for positioning these on here, I don't know why they wouldn't make these 4 bolt holes line up with those 4 holes and have some sort of fancy plug so that fit right on there nicely, but of course they didn't. So we've got to avoid those 4 holes and make our own. I'm going to be leaving some space at the back because that's where our wiring and plumbing chase will run through. So these feet will be sort of stepped away from the back, probably by about 6 inches. And then the feet that end up at the front will be very close to the front. I've got a set of bar clamps across the bottom here, and they're bigger than my normal ones, but I've got them on here to pull this tight to make sure that there's no gap here when we attach the foot. I'm not overly impressed with A, the quality of these screws that come from IKEA, B, the fitment to the bit, and C, the point on them isn't strong enough to very easily punch through this lower surface. So I'm going to try using a center punch. Again, I'm not sure why they didn't make the pattern on this line up with these holes here and have some sort of plug that went in there because they're virtually the same size, but that's what we have to deal with. So I've got the first 2 feet on over there, and we're going to try lining up over here and punching through here. Now, let's see which way around I can make this line up. If we do it that way, might actually be able to get 6 screws in. Let's start with 1. See if this center punch will... I can't push the center punch in. There we go. That should work. Just give us just enough of a divot to get the screw going. Come on, IKEA, you can do better than this. I've tried a couple different driver bits and they all don't like grabbing onto the screw very well. There we go. Much better with the center punch. Highly recommend, if you're trying to do this with these horribly cheap screws, center punch it first. You know, I have to say I'm really struggling with the low level of quality of the screws in this kit, of the fitment of these kits, and of the feet themselves. I start screwing this on here, and if it goes on without cross-threading, it's definitely not straight. And you get a certain distance on, and the friction of the threads on the plastic overcomes the press fit. I mean, I know this is just designed to be sitting on a kitchen floor, but that's horrible. Here's my recommendation. If you plan on going this way, save your money on the foot kit and just build something out of wood or metal. Just not the way they did it. I think I'm at a bit of a decision-making point here. I don't think these IKEA feet are going to cut it, because I've now installed all the base plates and I'm at a failure rate of 50% of these feet just popping off. And here's my concern. In a kitchen, in a house, probably not a big deal. Not very good, but not a big deal. But being that this is a vertical separation, driving down the road and going over a bump and having your kitchen lift up and drop in the wrong place, I don't think it's something that's worth the risk of continuing on. I mean, I could probably glue these in place. They're stable once they're on. They don't seem to be going anywhere. It's nice to have the adjustability in height, but I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Should I try gluing these on and continue on and have the adjustability? Or should I scrap this whole setup of the feet, pull everything back off, and make something myself? The nice thing about going this way, and I guess I could engineer it the other way, is there was a plan for stuff to happen underneath this cabinet. And with a different style of base, I'm not sure that can happen. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Not the way I wanted this video to go, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give us a thumbs up. Throw a comment down below. Let me know what you think. What would you do at this point? There's plenty more to come. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.